Good afternoon. With the swings in weather from yesterday to today, I feel like I've become my father as I looked outside this morning and said, "Don't touch the thermostat." We were blessed with some beautiful weather this weekend, and it was easy to forget that it's not even April quite yet. I hope you were able to be outside in your yard, on your deck, or perhaps took a stroll around the neighborhood. I want to just touch on that for a moment, if you don't mind. The Premier has spoken a number of times about the need for people to remain home whenever they can, but also, if you're heading outside for some exercise and a walk, that you do so in your own neighborhood. In his words, if you have to drive somewhere to get your exercise, you're going too far. We know that with the closure of some of the trails outside of Bridgewater, that it's led to an increase in people coming into town to walk. We love our rural neighbors, and we want you to enjoy Bridgewater. But if you have options in your own neighborhood to walk, we would ask that you choose that option at this time. Yesterday, we heard from Premier McNeil, who was rightfully angry at, in his words, the reckless few. We all have every right to be angry with those who are knowingly disregarding the state of emergency and putting others at risk. I'll just add that everybody knows the state we're in. I didn't know does not apply. To that end, the time for education about the directives is now over and the time for enforcement has begun. Many of us have already read the reports of fines being issued in Halifax and Truro, and I can assure you that Bridgewater will not be different. Please do your part and follow the protocols in place that are there to protect us all. I want to remind you that only one person in your family should be doing the shopping. That means people shouldn't be walking into the stores in pairs or in groups. When you're in line, you must also adhere to the physical distancing rules, and businesses, it is incumbent on you that you are ensuring that happens. We know businesses are struggling, so adding a $7,500 fine for Health Protection Act violations is going to be a very costly lesson. It's not all bad news, however, because it is only a few that are not listening. Everyone else is doing their part, and I sincerely want to thank you for that. I want to shift gears for a moment and give you some of the updates that we received today. Federally, the Prime Minister spoke in more detail about the 75% wage subsidy, and specifically that is for businesses that can demonstrate a 30% or greater decrease in their business. This subsidy will cover 75% of the first $58,700 of a person's salary. He did note, however, that he is asking businesses that can still cover the remaining 25% to in fact do that, and will be checking to ensure businesses are not abusing this program. Provincially, the Premier and Dr. Strang spoke again to Nova Scotians and noted that there were 5 new cases of COVID-19 in the province. They have also now confirmed that one of the previous cases is by community spread. This was related to the St. Patrick's Day event, and all the other participants at that event have tested negative. I want to remind people that community spread is the term used when the virus moves between 2 people and neither person has traveled. At this time, I'm not aware of the locations and cases, and so I cannot advise if there are any locally. Assume it is, and you'll be more likely to follow the protocols. Act as if you have it, and you'll behave as if you don't want to spread it, and that's how we'll flatten the curve. Dr. Strang emphasized that people should only be getting together in social groups of 5 or less if you have to. If you don't, then stay home. He also talked about still seeing groups of people sitting around outside, places like Tim Hortons or other places closer than 6 feet and having a coffee or a cigarette, and noted that this must end. In a long-term care facility in Enfield, there are now 2 staff and 2 residents who have tested positive for COVID. Public Health is working with everyone at that facility to test everyone and isolate those with a positive test result. The Premier advised that schools in Nova Scotia will be closed until May 1st, and they will reassess as they get closer to that date. Students who are on track to move to next grade will still do so. Those who needed this term to either grade or graduate will not be left behind. The Premier introduced Nova Scotia's Learning Plan. It includes e-learning as well as at-home educational options for those without internet. This will be led by our teachers and principals, and parents should expect contact this week from teachers regarding formulating a plan that works best for them. I've updated the links page pinned to the top of my Facebook page with this new link to this program. Grade 12 students that were on track to graduate will still graduate. The Premier also apologized for the fact that this is not the graduation year those students had hoped it would be. And if I could take a moment, I'd like to say to Premier McNeil, sir, you do not need to apologize. Our kids And I have a grade 12 student who is set to graduate this June. Our kids understand that you are doing this to protect them. As parents, we understand you are doing this to protect them and their teachers, and we are grateful. If we are all in this together, then we are all in this together. Locally, our staff teams continue to keep essential services going, and another huge thank you to them for keeping things running seamlessly. Bridgewater Transit continues to operate with physical distancing on board as well as increased cleaning protocols. We know that many in our community rely on this service, and that is why it has been deemed an essential service by the province. I want to speak to kids for a moment. I know it's difficult to keep entertained and their mind off the day-to-day, so I'd like you to help me out. I'm looking for some drawings and coloring to share with people. If you wanted to draw a picture of one of your favorite things and email me a photo of it, I'd love to share some of those when we live stream our council meetings. If it's okay with your parents, you can email the picture to david.mitchell@bridgewater.ca and be sure to include your first name and age. You never know, there might even be a prize in it. Finally, I know these are not easy days. I know this is taking its toll, but I want to remind you again that you are not alone. We are all in this together. What you are going through, what you are feeling, so many others are feeling as well. Now is the time to lean on each other. Don't be afraid to reach out to someone and ask for help. Do not feel like you aren't handling this as well as you should, because there is no template for how we are supposed to deal with this. I want you to use the resources available to you either through local, provincial, or charitable services. I want to make sure you take some time of each day for yourself, time to decompress and recharge. You need it, and you've earned it. Albert Schweitzer said, "Sometimes our light goes out, but it is blown again into instant flame by an encounter with another human being." While we can't go out and encounter other people in person, we can in so many other ways. So please, let's help light that flame for each other. Thank you.